It's midnight, and you're listening to WOLR, Outlet Radio.
I swear, if you guys keep blowing up these bathrooms, I'm gonna quit cleaning them. And get back to work, mother truckers.
Oh, the red light's on.
I mean, isn't that what we... Wait a minute, do we pay him?
Sure, let's go with that. Somebody does,
Do
clearly.
we get paid?
I mean, we don't pay bills. I mean, we live here for free. So I guess in a way.
Do you stock the fridge?
No. There's always shit in it.
I'm not going to ask the janitor because he'll probably ask me to clean it. Yeah, hi everybody. Welcome to another random thing.
Whatever this is.
Yeah. The light came on and I was upstairs playing video games and then, yeah, I'm a little confused right now because I was at the point of getting my ass kicked in Dark Souls and radio. Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently there's been a soundboard the whole time.
Wait, what?
Yeah. There's buttons. Not the button that ended the damn broadcast last time, but apparently we can turn it off. We can't start it, but we can end the broadcast. We found it. But there's this whole board over here. I'm not sure what most of it does, though. Well, I'm sure we'll figure it out as we go. But yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed the last episode, if you want to call it that.
Is there a button that says pay the actual talent?
Let's see. No, but there's one that says 9277. I don't know what it does, but I'm going to press it.
927.
Nope, that was music. And it okay.
Huh?
No idea. It was just music. Okay, we'll try more buttons later. So, today we're actually going to play some music for you guys.
I'm fucking time we're a radio station.
Yeah. So, this is Horror Score by Freak.
Unbearable, isn't it? The suffering of strangers, the agony of friends. There's a secret sound hidden deep within the center of the earth. Until you listen closely enough, you can hear it. And it sounds like razors through flesh. We are merely here to turn up the volume. And this is how I broke it, the fuck down.
Okay, that's not bad. That's kind of creepy, kind of cool.
Sure.
Sounds like it came from the '90s, but you know, I like the '90s. I miss the '90s.
We're not going to get into the 90s. We already got out of it once.
I don't think I ever left.
Okay. So, didn't we have like a caller or some shit?
Yeah. We definitely have a caller.
We're not ignoring you, I promise. Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, they called in during. So they wanted to share a personal experience with us because I guess ever since Paul the other day, people think they can just call and tell us weird shit.
Thanks, Paul.
You got to call us back next time, Paul. Like soon, man. I kind of want to know what's going on over there. So, did you get this guy's name?
Hold on. No.
Hold on one
We're
second.
going to say Bob.
Bob. And if that's not your name, Bob, it is now. So, all right, Bob. Take it away.
For a very long period of my time, and still on occasion, I have done, and I'm sure inevitably will do again, a lot of paranormal investigating. I belong to a group known as the Keepers. I don't really want to talk a whole lot about that organization. It's like a separate thing. It's not like a secret weird organization, but I just, out of respect, I don't want to talk a lot about that. Um, one of the things that I did a lot was releasing people, and sometimes things that you found out weren't people. A lot of the issues with hauntings and things like that, a good 9 times out of 10, if it's not easily debunkable by pipes and all kinds of different things like that, because you guys know I'm a person that wants to believe things. I'm a person that wants to believe that big things exist, that God exists, that the gods and goddesses of all mythologies exist. Fucking if it's out there, I like to live in a world where everything exists and I have endless possibilities. That makes me get through the day a little easier. So, of the times when I've actually experienced truly paranormal things, and as much as I tell you guys a lot about this shit, there are a million stories I have that involves absolutely nothing happening and everything being bullshit. I got plenty of those too. But those aren't as much fun to tell. This particular story, there's an old, what used to be a schoolhouse in this one area of Ohio. Again, I try not to tell you guys what cities they are because these are places that you can go and still exist, and I don't want you to get arrested and I don't want you to get hurt. because a lot of these buildings are abandoned and disrepair, and I would feel terrible about myself if something bad happened to you. But it is within driving distance of me at any point in time where I lived in Ohio. I'll always say that. This old house had a really weird history. This old schoolhouse. Years ago, there was a school shooting there, and it was the janitor. The janitor had been being treated like utter fucking garbage. He was the kind of guy that barely made it through grade school himself, and then his mother had passed, who was his only family. You know, he kind of eventually just kind of ran around the streets for a long time, and they gave him a job to clean shit when he got a little older. And he lived in what they called the old janitor's shack behind the building. And that's, you know, he'd keep all the tools he needed, the mowers, you know, that kind of stuff back there. But he had a little cot back there. One day, again, and this is on record around here. If you want more specific information, you can message me, and I will give that to you guys if you're listening, or any of you. I'm just, you know, for your average person, I don't want you to go traipsing around and shit. This guy lost it that day, and for some reason, again, it's still not known to this day what drove him to this. He did not have. He was a little bit of a drunk, but he didn't have like any known mental illnesses. Generally, he was a very nice guy, cared very much about the kids. Like, he was the one person on staff the kids generally felt more comfortable going to when something was going on with their life, because he was just nice, and he'd lived life, and he'd seen what it was like for a kid on the streets, you know, on their own. They're young in the 50s and 60s. He didn't want these kids to end up that way. But one day he lost his shit. He came out of the shack. He killed all 11 of the kids on the playground. He went inside. The other 12 kids that were inside a very small school. It was multi-floor, but there was only actually 4 classrooms. It was really small. The class sizes were like 4 or 5 of different grades. So he went in. He killed the 12 kids that were inside. And what he believed to be all 10 of the staff members, except for one of the staff members, survived, which was the secretary to the principal. She's how we know a lot of the information we know about this place, about what happened that day. She was the only survivor. Fast forwarded probably like a decade after that, this place is legendary because anytime you drove by this place in the 70s and 80s, in a lawn-revealing story, you drive by this old schoolhouse, which by then was already converted into a historical society, which is kind of still what it is now, but it's more of a dump house because no one goes to meetings or actually fucking does anything, which is sad. Legendary. You can drive past here any time of day or night, and you see shadow people walking past the windows around the fucking clock, right? It's a pretty astonishing fucking thing, because a lot of people know about shadow men, shadows of mortis, shadows of death, whatever you want to call them. Lots of different names. They're the equivalent to shadows that are so thick you can't see through them when you look at them, or if you look at a wall, you see a shadow following you, but there's no one actually there. Projected shadow, or a solid mass that looks a humanoid shape. It was a big deal. So then when I was growing up in the 80s, I heard about it more. And then when I really started doing a lot of this investigating, you know, this was something that I'd have, you know, friends that were older than me, because my friends were always sometimes up to a decade older than me. Like, we'd go out and go party and hanging out. Like, hey, man, let's drive by that old place. It's got a legend. Sure enough, every time I've ever been to this place, day, night, afternoon, morning, it doesn't matter when, what time of year, sit there for long enough, you'll see the shadow go across, stop, and seemingly facing you, because again, they don't have faces, and just tracking your movement, and then it walks. It's a really normal thing. Once I got a little bit braver in doing investigations, it's one of the places where I wanted to go, because I thought, again, being part of this organization and understanding that sometimes spirits just need to know they're dead. Sometimes someone that's dead just needs to know, hey, you're dead. You can go. You can move on. You can be at peace. And a lot of even bad things that happen are often solved by just releasing and giving the whatever's there the permission to just rest. So I thought, oh, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm now 17 at this point. So that we're talking like 99. Yeah, 99. And by now, I think I know everything there is to know about the paranormal. This is this phase of my life, like these couple of years, where I'm a badass. There's nothing that's going to scare me or piss me off. I can handle anything. I can fuck with, you know, tomes that I'm finding and reading out loud, like Evil Dead style. You know, I am bullet fucking proof of the paranormal. That's what I believe. And this is one of those times where I had my ass handed to me mentally, and it scarred me for life. And this is a building that I'm still terrified to visit, but I make myself do it every year just to prove to myself that I can, I guess. So we go to this place, middle of the day. Look outside. Sure enough, you see the shadow. Stop, look at you. And my buddy was like, dude, there's no way. Like, I'm going to go to that side of the building. We're going to split it up and see if we can confuse it. I stay there. It moves, starts going from window to window to like find my friend to stare, and then back to me, and then back. I'd never done this before. I'd never tried this experiment. And then we had a couple other people do it, and before long, this thing was just going window to window, like it was zooming to window, or there were suddenly more of them because now I'm not the only one seeing one in my window. Now there's like 3 or 4 different ones in different parts of the upper and lower staring out windows at us. There was only ever believed to be one. No one had ever done anything like this to no different. So then we realized, okay, this is the kids. Maybe it's the kids. Maybe there's a lot more spirits here than we believe. Maybe they all need to be released, and that'll solve this problem. Cool. There's no way in this building. No way in. Except for the very front door, which was at the time still kind of used for historical official business. Like they had a meeting room downstairs. But it was locked. But then we find this side entrance. It is covered stairs that start at the ground level outside. It's got walls in the ceiling, but no door that blocks them off. And you went up that way to the side of the building, and there was a way to get in. We thought, okay, cool, let's check it out. So we go up the stairs. Right, we're going up the stairs. We're looking around. Terrible smell, like rotten copper. That's what we're smelling, and it's fucking overwhelming. Like my buddy actually had to leave and throw up out in the little parking lot off to the side because the stench was that ridiculously powerful, just ridiculously powerful. And I just kind of, shirt over my nose, just kind of braved it out, and I opened the door, and it wasn't even locked. I'm like, oh, that's fucking cool. I just opened it, and the first thing you see there are dead animals everywhere, ammunition everywhere, pinned to the walls. I'm seeing rabbits. I saw part of a deer carcass. There were some possums in there. There was a raccoon, a bunch of squirrels, just like their tails tied together and hung on a wall, but they're all dead. And it looks like someone has just taken animals in here and smashed their head Gallagher style and painted the room. There was even 2 canvases on artist easels where it looked like that's exactly what they had done with these animals. And I'm like, okay, this is fucked. There's more going on here than we realize. My buddy's like, listen, it's broad daylight. We got to get the fuck out. We'll come back later with the crew, with the cameras, and we'll do something. We'll come back. Like, all right. So we actually wait a whole week. Next week we go to this place, and we notice there's these construction materials everywhere. Right, all these construction materials. I'm like, oh fuck, we lost our chance. We waited a whole week. We have now lost our chance. Let's see what's going on. And my buddy's pissed, and was not driving, and he actually had something to drink, which usually we did not allow drinking of any kind. Like a little bit of weed was okay, but we did not allow like even hallucinogens or alcohol or anything involved in these investigations because I can't believe anything you're fucking saying if I know what you're on. It kind of defeats the fucking purpose to be that inebriated and try and learn something about the afterlife, or maybe there's nothing there at all or whatever, but still, it's respect. And he's like, I'm going to take one of these. I'm like, yeah, what the fuck ever. So he actually stole one of the old sinks that came out of this building. Stole it. We had no idea. Put it in my friend's truck. There was this really cool spot. It was like a really small, it's like a mini airport, like a private airport. Like hardly any planes are there. They got their own little hangars. These little, like, these tiny little private planes go back and forth all the time. There's this place in the middle of a cornfield that had this giant circular concrete pad for no reason. We drive right to it. So we went there. And we did this often. We didn't want to go. We wanted to chill. There was corn everywhere, like literally, like just all around you. Just lay on the ground and look at the planes go by. It was really nice. So first things first, we decided we're going to go into the wood. We're going to go into the cornfield that day. I don't know why. We just decided we were going to go into the fucking cornfield. And things start getting weird because just as we're going to go into the cornfield, we realized we didn't have cell phones with flashlights back then, guys. Like if you're younger and you're more modern, yes, we didn't always have cell phones, and the ones we did had, none of them had flashlights built in. So we needed flashlights, and my friend Jen always kept them in her car, in the trunk of her car. We go to open it, and we realized there's an old, like ancient ass porcelain sink. Trying to figure out where it came from. I was like, oh, I forgot to tell you guys I took that. What the fuck, dude? Like we're pissed at him because this was an item that came out of this place. You don't do that anyway to someone's property, but something that might be connected to something, even more so, don't fucking touch it. So they go to move it, and there's suddenly blood. A decent amount of blood all over my friend's work clothes, and she had to drive an hour and a half the very next morning to go back immediately to work. Those clothes. We had to figure that out later. That's not an exciting story. We washed the clothes later for her or whatever. But that was weird. And this was the kind of sink that still had the drain that you could look down in there and see nothing in there. But now there's suddenly, it was enough to kind of splash over her shirt. It wasn't like a gallon of blood or nothing crazy, but there was blood that had come out of the sink under her clothing. Old blood. Still wet. We thought it was paint. We did everything until the guy that grabbed it took it and actually licked it. It was like, "Yeah, that's blood," which I wanted to vomit, but whatever. I'm not gonna go around and lick blood. So we're all shaken, but we're at the cornfield, so fuck it. So we split up like geniuses with see, where the corn, how far we get out in the cornfield to fuck with each other, whatever. We weren't being smart. We were no longer investigating, so now we were smoking more. We were smoking more herb. And I light a joint. I walk off into a random direction in this giant cornfield. Occasional plane, but again, it's not a very busy place. It's like a couple nights a week. It was a little bit busy. So I'm walking on, and every time I'm walking past the corn, like I bump into it, I feel like a tug on my shirt. And in my brain, I'm like, yeah, I'm just walking a little too close to the stalks. I need to, walk a little slower, pay a little more attention where I'm going. So I start going super slow, give myself probably a good 3 to 4 feet in the very center of the rows. So this was a very like sparsely, like widely planted field. And still, every stalk I go by, something is grabbing my shirt. It is not me rubbing against something. And I'm now feeling tugged the farther I go to a point where I get grabbed and yanked back about 4 or 5 steps. And it's sparsely planted enough in this particular field that it's not like someone's hiding in the corn, dude. Like no one could hide in the corn where this was. And then you see something sidestep corn. It was very similar to that thing I saw in the hot tub that one time when I was talking to Dell, and she's told this story before, how I was saying something like stepped out from behind the tree and then it turned sideways and I couldn't see it anymore for a little bit. And that was before we heard the mimics, before you guys heard the voices. It was like that, but it was in the fucking corn. And I see it for a second, and then it's gone. And then my buddy starts screaming. So I run towards his voice. My other two friends are running to the voice. Three of us meet up around the time to see our friend, who is sitting on the ground somehow being drugged backwards. And I'm losing my shit. Like, what the fuck is going on? Because I've already seen that one glimpse. We just start running after him. And I say running, but we're not running. It's not like a horror film where he's getting jerked at like 50 fucking miles an hour the other direction. If I had to guess the speed, we're talking maybe 5 miles an hour at best. And that's being liberal. Like, we're like not even quite jogging after him to figure out what's going on. So one of my friends jumps, grabs him by the foot. He stops being moved. Everybody's still. And so now everybody's still. And we're looking around trying to figure this all out. And I noticed that there are old, like rotted, dried out stalks, like all connected to like the back of his shoulders, his whole back. It's like it's wrapped around his chest a couple times, where it looks like corn stalks somehow magically came to life and encircled his upper torso to yank him. And whatever it was, he said he doesn't know what it was, but it made a sound like it sounded like a weird kind of a version of a scream to him that we didn't even hear the moment we yanked him free. So it ripped off, presumably whatever this was, this husk thing. And we got in the car and we fucking left. We're terrified. We've also got this bloody sink in the back of the car that came out of this place. So we are absolutely just losing our complete shit. We go to a local church. This my friend driving, she's like, let's just drop this thing off at a church. It's going to be equipped to deal with this. We're not equipped to deal with this right now. It'll be blessed. It's fine. I'm like, that's fucking dumb. And she's like, we're fucking doing it. She's pissed. It's her car. It's her rules. So we drop off this fucking bloody sink, old porcelain sink, on the front steps of a local church. Now, this sink made it to their newsletter the following weekend. Again, different story. Nothing ever happened beyond that except for it ended up in a bloody sink ended up on their newsletter because they found it and turned it into police who nothing ever came of it. So again, all these weird things are happening around this property and things taken from this property. There's other little things too that happen over time. Over a period of about 2 months, we keep driving by this place. We keep driving by it. We're still seeing the shadow. We're talking about going up those side steps again. And then a couple months goes by, and then we do it. We decide to say, fuck it. They aren't doing the construction we thought that they were doing, so we're going to go. We go. There's like 5 of us now. We walk up these steps. And again, that smell is still fucking there. And I'm like, God damn it. If they're doing work on this place, how did they not find this? How did they not see this when they were here yanking sinks and shit? It's not possible. So we go up there, and the door is barricaded from the inside. From the inside. And we're like, okay, well, they must have done something. My buddy's like, no, I can get into this. I can get in it. So he busts a hole in the very center of this fucking old door, reaches his hand in and feels. He's like, oh, yeah, somebody just braced it. I can do this. He goes to move it, and he starts to move the brace. And then he starts screaming, and I see his shoulder yanked right against the door so hard, it split the top right of the door frame and almost like ripped the door frame down. He said, "It's got me, it's got me." And I'm seeing him struggle. And the first thing I'm thinking about is, motherfucker is pranking us right now. Not gonna be the first time one of us pretended we reached our arm into a hole and someone was grabbing it. That's a thing fucking people do still to this day. Even in movies, you see this all the time. This is a normal fucking joke. He's fucking with us. And I start looking at his face, and his face is going white. Like, white. And then he's pissing himself now. And we can see it. And then we start taking things serious. We start grabbing him, trying to pull, and we can feel like a major force yanking him back towards the door to the point where we finally jerk him away. He runs down the stairs screaming, doesn't even stop at the car, just runs. And we're right near heavy woods, plus a back road that leads to a highway. He hit the back road and took off. We didn't see him again until another 3 hours when we accidentally drove past him looking for him and got him to get back in the car and leave. But so me and the other 4 people are, what the fuck? One of them chases off after him, ends up stopping in the car, and we picked him up when we came back down too. And so me and the other 2 are just standing there, like staring at this hole. My friend's like got the flashlight out, like kind of shining towards the hole, starting to get closer to the hole. And I'm like, dude, put my hand on his chest, and I pull him back. It's like, you just saw him. I mean, he was getting fucking yanked. His arm was in there, and you're gonna put your face in this fucking hole. How smart is that? He's like, yeah, I guess you're right. I'm like, I'm fucking right. So I get him pulled back, and I'm kind of looking around, but like from a distance, shining the light in, I'm not seeing stuff. And then an arm shoves its way out the fucking door. An arm that has been partially filleted in 3 different sections of an arm, so you can see flesh with no skin in some places. And someone just starts screaming and banging on the inside of that door. That arm is yanking and swiping at us. And then suddenly you see one eye like down there where the arm is coming out of. If you look, it's also like whoever it is pressing their face to the hole the same time they've got their arm out of it. So you see one bloodshot ass eye right at the hole and the arm just reaching, trying to grab and just shrieking. Not, I'm scared, I'm in pain, screaming, but something fucking unholy, shrieking so loud that it's triggering like just tones that are a much higher register than any other human being, even a female child, higher tones than they can hit. And it is earth shattering, and my face just starts hurting. I remember this pressure just building up in my head from this fucking sound that I thought my ears were gonna burst. By the time we got to the car, because I was stunned. I didn't even feel like I could move on my own. I was frozen. One of my other friends was frozen too. Again, the other one also took off. By the time we came down, we had small amounts of blood right here at the earlobe. So it wasn't like an excessive amount, but I'm sure it would have been had that continued. The only thing that stopped it is it stopped. The sound just stopped. The arm pulled back in, silence, and then we just kind of shook it off. We came down, we got everybody, drove down, found our other friend walking down the road. We left. Later, we found out more of the story and the reason why they stopped using the building for the historical society. In the earthen cellar basement, not only did they find some bodies of the children, of different children they didn't even know had died there. Like, is it gone missing? Like, I'm talking like some of them 50, 60, 70 years ago, when this was the original schoolhouse back then. There was some kind of pattern of someone murdering children. So everybody immediately thought, okay, it's probably the janitor. No, it wasn't the janitor at all. We still don't know why the janitor went nuts. This was a separate thing where someone or a group of people were actually not just murdering children, but sacrificing them because all the evidence was uncovered when they dug just another 5 feet down in the sewer or in the earthen cellar to hit the pipes so they could figure out, I guess, fixing more shit. But they started uncovering jars of organs. They uncovered different circles that were carved on slate and buried down there, like giant, like 3 by 3 foot tiles, different symbols and different circles. And someone had been doing this for a long time. And what we realized through talking to more people, going back during the day, then getting permission to go in with the historical society, we saw evidence of summoning, like broken summoning circles and all kinds of things. The last thing we found, like the newest items we found in there, made it seem like someone before us had discovered all this, and they had done something to keep it there, to keep it from escaping. Every year, on the same day, to this day, since 1997, since I discovered this place and what it was, I go back. I go back there. I make sure it's still there, that it's still inside. That it It turned out to be just one thing that it could apparently separate itself into many, but it's one thing. I go back to make sure it's still there. 5 years ago, I went there and it wasn't inside; it was outside. It had somehow managed to exit the building, but it still could not leave the physical property, the bearers of the property. There's a lot of medallions and holy symbols and a lot of things like on all sides of the property that have been buried over the years. You've had a lot of different people have come out and done ceremonies here to ensure that there's these multiple barriers, and it had broken through every fucking one but the property line barrier. So again, I had to reassemble a small group of people. We got it back inside the building, and the burying of new things. Could be some amounts of salt, broken glass. I'm not going to go super into the rituals and the things that were used, but we managed to coax/force this thing back into the building and put up new barriers, but about 1,000,000 times more. Not actually 1,000,000, but like many more than there were before. And since then, it has remained back inside the building. But I remember that day 5 years ago when we went. We turned off. So I did was during the evening because that's happened when we happened to be there. But I would go back during some years during the day too. I just didn't give a shit what time of day or night it was. But it stopped. And this time, it tracked our whole car as we drove by. It went from one property and just slow, step by step, with its head just turned towards the car and just marched back and forth. I got out of the car and I had the people with me drive. It did not follow them. It would only follow where I physically was. And now to this day, again, I still go back every year to make sure this thing is still in there, to say different prayers and to do different things to ensure that that doesn't break. But every year it knows me. Since 1997, this thing knows my face. It knows who I am. And now I'm one of the only human beings that it even shows up and interacts with. And it still do this. They still go to the house. But it's not an urban legend anymore because after 97, it stopped following every single person that shows up. It just follows me. Every time I see it, I turn onto the street. I get where I'm just barely in viewing distance of the giant front top window. I see it stand up and stare at me. It's that dense shadow just looking directly at me. And no matter what I do, it follows me until I'm out of sight again. But the thing is, for the next couple miles, it's like I can still feel it following me with its eyes. Like you just feel it. It's the only time in my life that I've ever felt like there was no hope. That I was staring into something. There was no mercy. There was hope. There wasn't even nothingness. There was just the understanding that if it ever truly got out and got to me, that it wasn't just the end of me, that it was the end of all things. That's the gravity of how this thing makes you feel. And every year for the rest of my life, the same day, June 22nd, I have to go back to this place. And not only that, I've had to tell a couple other people, so if something happens to me, then it's their job. When I die, that's someone else's job. I will never be able to rid this building of this thing. No one will rid this building, and the only thing we can do is just make sure it never leaves. The generations of people from now on June 23rd, someone that I will never meet, someone that I will never know and has never heard my name, will still be going to that house and seeing that same shadow. It's fucking tripping then to think about. Like, again, I'll be gone for decades, and here somebody will come in their car. We'll make that journey out in the woods, out to this old farmhouse, and they'll sit there, and they'll stare at it, and it'll stare at them.
And we're back.
Just because you guys live here for free doesn't mean you can't clean up your own facial hair. Get a broom!
What?
I haven't been shaved since we've been here.
I haven't either. What the fuck?
Okay.
Are you shaving your balls or something?
No.
You didn't see, but I just checked.
Yeah, he just checked his balls.
I didn't shave mine either. Nobody shaved mine either. My beard's still here.
So thanks, Bob, for the story.
And thanks, janitor, for the weird mental image.
Yeah. So this has been a pretty interesting ride so far. I mean, it's only our second time on, and I still don't know what's happening. But I actually went outside earlier today, kind of walk around a little bit. I really haven't done that a whole lot. There is a boarded up church, or I thought it was boarded up, about, I don't know, like 5 blocks from here. Well, I guess the equivalent of 5 blocks. I don't really know how to gauge distance in this place. I thought it was boarded up. It looked all boarded up. But when I looked at the window, there were people. Like a full A full house. All the pews were taken, but all the doors were boarded shut from the outside. And they were real people. I mean, they were like ghosts or anything like that. They were people. There was a church organ happening. There was preaching happening. I don't know what to make of it.
Are you sure it wasn't like that House of Wax thing where it looked like the preachers and all that, but they were just really...
No, I mean, they were moving. Like, they were moving around, like hand gestures. They were talking. Like, people were kind of
sure
interacting.
It wasn't like animatronic House of Wax where
No,
they
no.
took Five Nights at Freddy's and threw some wax on top of them? And
No, I'm pretty sure they were people. I'm pretty sure they were actual people.
if they were actual people, they would probably try to get out.
I mean, I'm gonna guess maybe there's like, maybe the doors are fucked up or something. I don't know. I didn't see another door, but the whole thing kind of creeped me out a little bit, so I also didn't stick around for a really long time.
Last time I tried to walk outside, I got the whole Evil Dead bridge thing where I'd like walk to the end of the street and it was gone.
Wow.
So I just avoid outside. Not like I was outside that much before this, but hey.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much just lived inside, except for haunt season. It's fucking weird, man. I think I'm gonna try and go out again tomorrow and
Did we
see
live
what
in
it gets done.
Silent Hill?
It feels like it. I mean, I haven't seen the fog,
I
but
haven't seen the fog or Pyramid Head.
yeah. But it's fucking weird here. That's for sure, man. I just don't know what to make of it yet. But like we said though, I mean, we don't have to pay any bills. We always have food. I haven't ran out of cigarettes yet, and I don't remember buying any.
We do need weed.
Yeah, we do need some weed.
Guess we have to grow it.
Yeah, there we could. I'll ask the janitor. Maybe he knows somebody.
Maybe he is somebody.
Maybe.
Well, no, he's way too grouchy to be a fucking pothead.
I don't know, man. I mean, who knows? Maybe he's got a garden. I'll find out. I'll ask him. And if not, I don't know. I'll just walk around and meet people, I guess. Maybe I'll go to the church. Maybe they smoke.
Well, I guess we'll see you guys next time because the light's starting to blink.
Let's try a button real quick before we go.
Okay, try a button.
This one says guys.
I love it! You guys are so great!
Oh. Wow. You're great too, random voice.
You've lost your button privileges.
I don't know what these things are. Alright, guys. We'll see you later.